The death of a single Kenyan must never be used to advance politics. I will not register to vote because I do not trust the system. Stop exporting your bad manners to other countries. The problem with this tribe is this or that. We pass the finance bill quietly. Deal with them. The problem with Kenyans is average thinking. Fellow average thinkers. Nikunoma. There's a storm coming, and I know you see it too. It's raging in the horizon as it slowly inches through. You can feel it in the air, even though its presence isn't clear. An insidious order that's pretentious and insincere. A darkness that we know wants us to fear. It wants us to tremble and cower in our hidden rooms. It wants us to go back to those days that we lived under a boot, those days that we believed that togetherness is a preserve of the privileged few. And if ever there was a time, a moment, a season that we needed each other, now is the time, now is the moment, now is the season. We can't ignore it, we can't camouflage it, and we cannot rationalize it away. In the height of emotion, one can be oblivious to the silence and the wisdom within it. In the chaos of today, the wins, the victories, the lessons of yesterday can be drowned in the overwhelming. Convenience can replace calling. Conformity can replace conviction. Complacency can replace perseverance. So allow me to share an analogy. If you convince lions that they have no sharp in their teeth, that they have no speed in their feet, and that their hunt lacks tactics, you might as well have given them a death sentence. For they will roam the savannah, feared and revered, but exist as shells of what they were always meant to be. And over time, even the jungle will concur that these lions, these particular ones, are below par. What other explanation suffices if not that we've believed the lies they've told us? They have us chasing our tails that we've almost forgotten that our own citizens were abducted in our neighboring countries, violated, dehumanized, then discarded like nothing. That we had a father beg in court for their son who was abducted by unnamed forces. That Albert Ojwang was plucked from his home, tortured for tens of kilometers, then cast off like a dog. That the family of Bridget Njoki is mourning the murder of their 12-year-old daughter who was just watching TV. Have we already forgotten that we have strayed so far from the hope of what this country could be? That children burnt in a school and we've moved on. I thought we were ready for something different. After what will go down as one of the most unsettling yet enlightening years in Kenyan history. I thought our eyes would open for all within our borders because we were reminded before we are anything, we are first Kenyan. Before you're any profession, before you're a police officer, before you're a member of parliament, before you are a president, you are first a Kenyan. But what I see is a remorseless return to all narratives that gave us one of our worst years in 2007. Have they convinced us that we have no sharp in our teeth, that we have no speed in our feet, and that our hunt lacks tactics? I know we are tired, discouraged, overwhelmed. Our pleas have been met with the deaf ears and reduced to being too much, but that's not true. Calling for justice is not too much. Asking the nation to respect its citizens is not too much. Challenging corruption is not too much. Demanding for the dignity of our constitution is not too much, but let me tell you what would be too much. It will be too much to bear if after all this suffering, I will be reduced to a tribal bloc. It will be too much if we continue to buy into this narrative that we are helpless. Too much to imagine that we have no say where this country will go. Too much if we betray our pain for rhetoric, coin, or charm. Too much if we allow ourselves to be divided. You see, it is easier to convince your enemy that they are weak than to face them confident. It is easier to conquer them by breaking them apart than to face them united. Easier to shift goalposts than to play fair when you know you're outnumbered. Easier to convince us or try to convince us that what we accomplished by raising the consciousness of the nation was absolutely useless than to face the reality that things have changed forever. If you convince lions that they have no sharp in their teeth, they have no speed in their feet, and that their hunt lacks tactics, you might as well have given them a death sentence. For they will roam the savannah, feared and revered, but exist as shells of what they were always meant to be. And over time, the jungle will concur that these lions, these particular ones, are below par. But my good people, fellow Kenyans, may we never forget, never, that things have changed forever. Because now we have the undeniable proof that we are stronger together. And that together we have not only changed the course of this nation, but of the world. Oh, and if you doubt, I urge you to visit the shores of the recent past and experience the waves that are spread even to our neighbors, that you may be reminded there's plenty of sharp in our teeth. There's plenty of speed in our feet. Oh, and don't get me started on the brilliance in our hearts and minds. But what would be the benefit of being so fierce, so formidable, if we do not believe? Look, I'm not saying the solution is this or that. I don't know. But this I know. Whether you see it or not, this is the fight. And I'm here to tell you, we will win this fight, I am sure. Because while some choose to believe that we are fighting for power, we know we are standing for neighbor and kin. While there are those who want to explain away our rage as conspiracy, we are convinced by the conviction we are witnessing. We will win because while their fight is driven by fear of losing their privilege and bank balance, ours is a love for the land and all the peoples within it. We will win because while some choose to believe we are fighting individuals, we know we are fighting for the soul of our nation. Ours is one of love, while theirs is one of manipulation. Ours is for the generations, while theirs is for an election. And we will win, I am sure, even though the present screams of the contrary. When the writer wrote, "It is well with my soul," he had just lost everything. How can it be well with his soul? That burden is too heavy to bear. And yet in the darkest of times, he found faith that could soothe his being. Faith, the assurance of things hoped for, the belief of things not yet seen. In the height of emotion, one can be oblivious to this silent truth. In the chaos of today, the wins, the victories, the lessons of yesterday can be drowned in the overwhelming. But faith can move mountains even though they feel unmovable. Faith can bring healing even when all hope is lost. Faith can bring the lost back into the fold. Faith can restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten. But faith requires action, especially now, in these times, in these moments, in this season. And so I ask you, my good people, and I want you to answer me. Have they convinced us that we are not lions? Have they convinced us that we are not lions? Good. I speak these words boldly, not because I'm not afraid. I am. But because there's a time for everything. And now is not the time to give in to fear. Now is the time to come together. Now is the time to roar. Viva! Viva!
I need you.